Okay, hi Facebook, hi Instagram. Welcome to Fiber at 4. This is Christiana coming to you live from the Longmont Yarn Shop. I'm going to let everyone on Instagram know that I'm kind of focusing more on the Facebook screen. So if you want a better view, I would recommend going to Facebook. Otherwise, I will do my best to try and show up for both cameras. So welcome to Fiber at 4. And today we are celebrating socks, and the reason why we're celebrating socks is I started teaching a sock class this past Thursday. I'm like, socks are really cool, and I don't think I've really talked about them all that much on Fiber at 4, so we're going to be touching on socks today, and Melanie's here with me, so we've got the two sock gurus here. So if you have any questions, or I might have Melanie pop in when she starts waving at me and is getting all excited about a product, so we'll do that. And hi Mom, and looks like lots of people joining us on both platforms. So again, Instagram, I'm going to try and focus on you, but I'm going to be focusing mainly on Facebook, so that might be the better view. So socks. I wanted to start today by looking at a couple of sock books, so I'm going to go off camera for just a second. Got this nice big table that I can spread out on. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was this Getting Started Knitting Socks book by Ann Budd. And hi Nancy. Oh, hi Instagram. Sorry, Instagram's on the phone, so the print's a lot smaller and I can't read it as well as the iPad. So this is Getting Started Knitting Socks by Ann Budd. We love Ann Budd here. In fact, she's teaching a class this afternoon about finishing techniques. I bet it's probably done by now, but I hope you guys had a good time if you went to that class. So this is a fantastic reference book. It's $19.99, so this leads you all the way from picking the right needles and yarn all the way to the anatomy of the sock and working on the sock itself. So again, it's $19.99. It's by our friend Ann Budd. So let me open this up a little bit. So of course, you're starting out with the materials, and she outlines how much yarn you're going to need depending on the size sock you're making. She's got child size medium all the way through adult size large, and she's got the yarn, the needles. So awesome reference book. If you have never made socks before, I highly recommend this. So again, it's $19.99. And for those of you who are like me and Melanie, who have made more socks than we can count, we've got a more advanced book. I know Melanie showed this last week, but it's such a cool book, I feel like it's worth sharing again. This is Operation Sock Drawer by the Knitmore Girls. And actually, I should have Melanie come and talk about this book, even though I think it's awesome too. But I'm going to have Melanie come talk about this because she has made patterns from here, and I have yet to make socks from this book, so we're going to have to do that sometime.
All right, thank you very much. Well, that didn't take too long for me to have to jump in because I really do love this Operation Sock Drawer book. I got into this because I have been listening to the Knitmore Girls for a really, really long time, and they also really love to knit socks. So what they did was they put together 20 different inspiring designers for some gorgeous sock patterns. So they're also known for their vanilla sock. You can find them the Knitmore Girls vanilla sock, which is plain and simple, top down. And they do openly say that this book is not a vanilla sock book. There are colorwork socks, there's mosaic patterns. I love this one. This is stained glass. Which got me to try shorties for the first time, a really fun sock. Meandros, which is near and dear to my heart. This looks like tricky color work, but it's actually one color per row. I am going to be knitting those again. And a cool one that I want to show you, Funambulous, which I know Sarah Salmon was working on. This is the pattern I highlighted last week for Valentine's Day. And I was hoping to find Funhouse, which I only still have one sock. I've got my cuff started on my next one. I've got to jump back on it. But Funhouse was a really cool stranded colorwork sock technique, which was a first for me. And I did have to use 9-inch circulars for this one, or if you've got the Shorties interchangeable set, that's going to be great for color work. This uses Malabrigo for the undyed sock yarn portion. And oh, Christiana's fantastic. This is Fun House by Lisa Ross. You can also find her on Instagram as Paper Daisy Creations. She designs a lot of really cool mini skein socks, and she's got some beautiful patterns. There's one in the Harry Potter book, the Marauders socks, that I definitely need to make sometime. But what's cool about this is it uses a color-changing, self-striping yarn and a solid yarn to give this that cool effect. And with the unique sock, it's going to have a whole different set of color changes here. So this one is like blue and green, and some purples in here, and the others are going to be the other half of the rainbow, reds, orange, yellows. So really looking forward to finishing these, and I highly recommend this book. If you like sock knitting, before I tried some patterns out of this book, I wasn't pushing myself too hard on sock patterns, so it's not crazy. You can definitely do this, but it's going to get you out of your comfort zone to be knitting some cooler sock patterns. All right, get my stuff out of the way.
Yay, thank you, Melanie. I know how excited you get about that book, so I figured that you should be the one to share, even though I love that book too. So those are two really great books for sock knitting. Now, I know most of us associate sock knitting with fingering weight, but you can use literally any weight yarn. So what I want to show first is the Wool Pop. This is a DK weight yarn, and there's a cord in there. Wonder how I did that. This is a DK weight yarn. It is 50% bamboo, 35% superwash wool, and 15% polyamide. Am I in your way, Melanie?
Oh, no, you're good. Someone just said that they love your white shirt, and someone loves my green sweater. Oh, so we'll have to talk about those.
We should. So let me finish up with Wool Pop. I'll bunny trail here in a second. So this does have man-made fiber in it. When you're making socks, man-made fiber like a nylon or a polyamide is really nice to have because it helps keep I call it the structural integrity of the sock. So it helps keep the shape of it. Man-made fiber typically wears better too. So this is a nice combination of wool plus a couple other fibers. And it's got this great sheen to it. Wow, I'm really close to the camera on Facebook. This colorway is called Lake, and this is such a fantastic blue. It's kind of turquoisey, definitely leaning more towards the blue side of turquoise than the green. And this guy is Silken, very nice gray. I don't know if you guys can see kind of the nice shiny thread that's twined in there with the wool. Then this one is called Nightshade, and it's kind of a purpley gray. It's not really purple, but it's not really gray. It's kind of in the middle there. And then this one is Raisin. I don't know why I looked at the tag. I know the name of that color. This is a pinky purple. And then I have a sample here made out of the Wool Pop. This is the Church Mouse Basic sock pattern. So this is the sock pattern we're actually using in my sock class right now. So that pattern is written for DK weight or fingering weight, so you can use either and get the sock out of there. So this is made out of the lemongrass colorway, and depending on the size of your foot and how tall you want to make the cuff, this pair only took one skein. If you wanted to make a taller cuff, I would recommend buying two, or if you have larger feet, you may want to buy two just to be safe. Me, I have super tiny feet, so I could probably get almost 1.5 pairs out of one hank. So again, this is a DK weight yarn. It is $17.99 per hank, and it is 50% bamboo, 35% superwash wool, and 15% polyamide. So my sweater, I think it's Summertime Crochet that I found this pattern in. And the pattern was written for like preteens and teens, so people who have much smaller figures than I do. But what I did is I upped my hook size, I upped my yarn size, and I was able to get a sweater that fit my body type. So this is a worsted weight yarn. Please forgive me, I can't remember which yarn I used. I want to say it's ultra wool, but I don't think that's right. So it's just a nice sleeveless top, and it's a superwash yarn, so I just throw it in the washer, lay it flat to dry when it's done. And it was a really fun crochet. I memorized the pattern pretty quickly, so I was able to work on it in the car, and yeah. So that's the story of this sweater. And did you want to talk about your sweater real quick? Yeah. Okay, Melanie's going to talk about her sweater real quick because she was asked about it. So.
Thank you. All right.
So I wanted to talk about the sweater really quickly because it is a great knit if you're looking for both a hat or a cardigan pattern. So this is the Antler cardigan by Tin Can Knits. There's also the Antler Toque, Toque, on Ravelry, also by Tin Can Knits, and both of them use this really beautiful sort of antler-like shaped cable pattern that's a repeat. And both the hat and the cardigan are really, really nice. I love the design, and this one I did not make. It was given to me by the fantastic Jennifer Miller. She is one of our yarn dyers from Theodora's Pearls, and this is her own hand dye. The color is called Irish Moor, which I love, and it's an Aran weight sweater. So I just wanted to show you really quick. We also carry Theodora's Pearls in the bulky section, and this is large hadron, which is the hadron, which is the base, and then it's 100% superwash merino. It's 100 grams for 2 plies, chunky weight, 109 yards. This color is called Russet and retails for $32.99, and this color is called Goldmine and is also really beautiful. So this might be a little bit chunkier than the yarn she used, which was an Aran weight, but these would be really cute colors, in my opinion, to make this sweater as well. So it's on my list to make, and let me know if you've made one, because I know it's a popular design. So thank you so much for asking.
Going to put the yarn in the comments column, but the computer in the back loads so slowly. You were done by the time I could even get the shopping page up. So all of these products that we're showing you tonight are on the Fiberette 4 shopping category. So you go to Fiberette 4, and we have the last 4 Fiberette 4s that we've done. The large hadron is not part of the lineup, but I can have Melanie put the link into the comments column so that you can find large hadron. The reason I know how it's pronounced, it's named after the Large Hadron Collider in, I want to say it's Switzerland. Mm-hmm. So that's where she got the name. From CERN, yeah, exactly. So back to socks. Yay, socks! So this Church Mouse pattern, Church Mouse basic sock, I'm making a pair out of DK weight for my class. I find, and this is kind of a little side note here, I find that when I'm teaching, whether it's knitting or crocheting, having a larger yarn and larger needles is much easier to demonstrate so people can see better. So instead of using fingering weight to teach with, I'm using DK weight. And what I'm using is actually the Farmer's Daughter. This is the Juicy DK. This is $34 per hank, and this is hand dyed in Montana. We only get this yarn maybe twice a year, so when we've got it, definitely jump on it. So this is 100% superwash merino, and the DK weight skeins have 274 yards in them. So a person with super small feet like me can definitely get two socks out of one skein. So this color is called Fancy Dancin', and it has a nice kind of orangey tan base with little speckles of pink and yellow and turquoise in there. Really nice color. And then this one is Cowboy Country, which is a nice creamy white base with kind of a strawberry red speckle to it and a little bit of green and yellow. And this is one of their solids, and we had to buy this because it's called Teresa.
Oh.
And it's pink.
It's beautiful.
So I think that would look really nice with the cowboy country. Yeah, cowboy country. So, yay. So when you're making socks, even if you're making just plain socks, you can definitely use more than one color. You can use one color on the cuff and then one color on the body, or you can change up the heels and toes. That is an excellent way to use up scrap yarn. So if you've made a pair of socks and you have a little bit of yarn left over, don't throw it away. Buy a complementary color and then use your leftover yarn for either the cuff, the heel, or the toe. We never throw away yarn around here. I have been known to keep little tiny pieces of yarn just because you never know when you're going to need it.
Always prepared.
I'm always prepared, exactly. Well, you know, and it's good to keep your scrap yarn too, so if you get a hole in your sweater, you've got the yarn to go back and fix it, or if you have a hole in your project, I should not limit it to just sweaters. So this color is called Glacial Lake Missoula, and this is a nice creamy white base with a lot of turquoise and different speckling to it. Thank you, Melanie. And this is actually the color I'm using for my socks. So there's sock number 1, and I have not finished the second one yet because that's the one I'm making for class. So I decided to make the first sock before class to kind of familiarize myself with using DK weight and to help avoid the second sock syndrome. So I've got the first sock done, so I just have to make the second one now. So again, that is the Farmer's Daughter Juicy DK. It's 100% superwash merino, 274 yards, and it is $34 per hank. 34 yards, that would be a pretty small hank, wouldn't it?
Oh, Courtney, Coco Knits, shout out. She said the sea glass hat, which is designed by Wool and Pine,
Sea glass hat?
is perfect for tiny scraps.
Oh, sea glass hat is a great project for tiny scraps. Thank you, Courtney. Can you look that up on Ravelry and put it in the chat column?
Yes.
Thank
I
you,
will.
Melanie.
Yes.
So the next yarn I have is one of our favorites. This is Amble, and I wanted to show Amble tonight because we have some new colors. They've introduced new colors for the springtime. Plus, this is just a fantastic yarn. It is wool, alpaca, and nylon, so you've got that little bit of man-made fiber in there to help hold the shape of the sock and help it wear a little better. This is a fingering weight, so we're now going into more traditional fingering weight yarn for socks. And this is machine washable if you put it on a gentle cycle and then lay flat to dry. And this yarn is so incredibly soft. I honestly haven't found an excuse to use it yet, but I will. I'll figure something out. It is super, super soft. It's got a nice ply to it, and this will wear incredibly well. It is a kind of a thicker fingering weight yarn. But this color is called Wild Blue Yonder, and it's not exactly what I would call a solid blue. It's got a little bit of tonal to it. It's got a blue kind of spun in there that's almost a purple. So this is one of the new spring colors, and these guys are $24.99 per hank, and we've got 355 yards here. This is also one of the new colors. This is called Cross Paths, and this is a tan and creamy white two-plied together. This would look awesome. Stepping away from socks for a second, this would make an awesome cabled sweater. I think cables would look fantastic in that color. Then this is Yellow Earl. I thought that was a great name. This is another one of their new colors, and it's not a bright in-your-face yellow. It's almost kind of halfway between yellow and orange, so it's a nice golden yellow. Thank you. Yeah. This guy is Heathland, and it's a pink, but it's kind of applied with a little bit of brown in there, so it's a very subtle pink. It's again not a bright color. Thank you. Now, if you like your bright pinks, this color is called Walk Me Home, and this definitely is a springy color, I think. It's a rose pink, so it's not really, really bright, but it's definitely brighter than the Heathland. Those would look so pretty together.
Would.
That would make a great Fair Isle.
Oh, I like the colorway name. I'd buy it for the name.
Yeah, I don't know where they come up with some of these color names, but they are so much fun. And then they finally brought in a purple. This is Castle Rig, and it's kind of more of a periwinkle purple, but it is a really, really beautiful shade.
Rest assured, Christiana found it first.
If there's purple, I'm going to find it. Thank you. So those are $24.99 per hank, and we've got 355 yards. And then they also have minis too. So they did introduce the new colors in the minis as well. The minis are exact same fiber content, also fingering weight. Sorry, Instagram, I keep forgetting to look at you guys. These have 88 yards per hank, which is actually really generous for a mini. So I've got the cross pads. I couldn't remember if it was cross or crossing. This is White Heather, which is one of the original colors. I don't want to say older, but original. The Wild Blue Yonder, Heathland, and Yellow Earl. So these guys are $7.99 per hank. And these, again, are fantastic for your heels and toes and cuffs. So if you don't have enough yarn in your big skein to complete the sock, find a complementary color and use it for the heels and toes.
Are you done?
Almost. Along the same lines, our friends at the Fiber Company who make Amble also wrote this one sock book. Actually, it was written by Kate Atherley, who has been on Fiberside Chats. This book is $15, and this is another great introduction to just the basic socks. They give you the basic sock pattern, and they break it down part by part. So they don't have a chart that's outlining the parts of the sock. What they do is they just break it down part by part and have the instructions for it. So you've got your basic sock pattern, and then they teach you how to do different stitches. So there's like a mock cable in here. There's the 2x2 and 1x2 ribbing. We've got the different types of toes and adding color. So she's got some color work. Oh, those are awful dark. You can't really see them. Yeah, so there's some color work on there. And then there's the different textured stitch patterns. So if you're new to sock knitting, this is another wonderful reference book. So that's by the Fiber Company, designed by Kate Atherley, and it's $15. And Melanie's waving her arms at me, so I'm assuming that means you want to say something.
Oh, no, I just have a request from, I think, Knit and Nikki about the shawl behind you. All right, thanks for your questions, guys. So a good question that came from Instagram is, can we mention the shawl that's behind us here? So this is a really beautiful shawl that's designed by Boo Knits, BOOKNITS, on Ravelry. It was a mystery knit-along that started in January called Homebody Mystery Knit-along. So you can type in Homebody, MKAL, and you will get the pattern for this beautiful shawl. It uses, from the Fiber Company, again, this is the Erin Moore, which is a DK weight, thank you. And I tried to guess the colors. I think I got it spot on. This teal color is called Kinnego Bay, Kinnego, and the gray is Liadan, Leiden. So I think that you need 2 of your main color and 1 of your accent color. So it's a really beautiful shawl, and we've gotten great feedback on the yarn that it really blooms and lightens and softens after you wash it, after you block it.
It's a great fiber blend.
Yeah, it has a nice tweediness to it. If you probably can't see that on camera so far away, but I'll show you a little bit closer. And the yarn blend is 328 yards of fine merino wool, cashmere, and silk. Good night, Marianne.
Good night.
So thank you so much for asking. You could also use Amble, I would say.
Alrighty, in case you didn't hear that, Melanie said you could probably use Amble for it too. I'd probably double it up though.
Oh.
So that would look pretty out of Amble. You can, even like hold 2 and 2 together. So 4 different colors. That would be kind of cool. Alrighty. So the next yarn I have to show you, this is the Alegria by Manos de Uruguay. And this is 75% merino superwash and 25% polyamide. So this is a fantastic blend for sock making because it does have a little bit of that man-made fiber, or a little bit more of the man-made fiber in there. So this will wear really well, and it has that added strength to it from the man-made fiber. And honestly, you guys, this is super soft, super squishy, and this would make fantastic socks or slippers, or this is a great yarn if you're wearing it next to your skin because of the softness. So I only pulled 2 colors, but we've got a lot more than this. These just kind of popped out from the wall and grabbed me. So this is Tahiti, which is a wonderful teal blue. I would say it's probably equal parts green and blue, so it's a very true teal. And then this guy's called Thistle. So of course we have to pull the purple.
Ooh, so
But I love the way they dye their yarn because it's not a solid. It's got a little bit of that tonal to it. So you've got a little bit of a slight color effect, but not a really bright, in-your-face color change.
This sock yarn is top of my list for next one to try.
So in case you didn't hear that, Melanie just said that this is the next at the top of her list for sock yarn to try. So that is the Alegria fingering weight, and we've got how many yards? A lot of yards. 445 yards, and again 75 superwash merino, 25% polyamide or nylon, and these are $31.99 per hank, and I think those two would look good together too. Throw a little black in there, make like a stained glass effect. That would be awesome.
Their cactus flower too is so
The
pretty.
cactus flower is the pink one, yeah.
And the
Bright magenta. Oh yeah, the bright magenta one. So Melanie likes the cactus flower color.
Don't buy it. No, just kidding.
So Melanie says don't buy it because she wants to buy it all. But no, go ahead and buy it
Just
if you
buy
want
it.
if you want it, go ahead and buy it. So this next yarn, this is one of my absolute favorites. We've got a Comet. It makes beautiful socks, so soft on your feet. Yeah, just even in the hank, this stuff is amazingly soft.
Plump.
Yeah, it's plump, and it's squishy. The
Yeah.
skeins are really squishy. I know that sounds funny. Yeah, yarn squishes, but this stuff it's almost like a stress ball.
Yeah,
It's that squishy. So this next yarn is one of my absolute favorites. This is a local dyer, and this is for those of you who don't want to be knitting with or crocheting with the really, really bright colors. If you want something that's still fun but a little more subdued, this is the Meow Melange yarns. This is by Herd of Cats Road Trip Sock Yarn, or Allie Pate as we know her around here. And she is based out of South Denver. We met her, Gail and I met her at Noble Yarn Fest exactly 2 years ago this month.
Whoa.
Right before the pandemic started. And we just fell in love with the yarn. We fell in love with her. Allie is such a neat person. And she dyes these yarns to match cats that are available for adoption at the Denver Dumb Friends League. So you get the yarn, and then you get the picture of the kitty that inspired the colorway. And that's
Blinks.
Blinks. That is Blinks, and I have got Princess Caroline in my hand. I love this. I love this colorway. And she does this to help the cats out. 15% of, I want to say 15% of her proceeds go back to the Denver Dumb Friends League to help take care of the kitties while they're in their care. And she does it because she can't adopt all the cats at the Humane Society, so she just uses them as inspiration. So this guy is Princess Caroline, and she is so cute. This is great for people like me who are allergic to cats. We can still help cats out without having to adopt one. So again, we've got a fingering weight. This is 85% merino and 15% nylon. So this has got enough of that man-made fiber in there to really give the structural integrity to the socks. And these are $36 per hank. We've got 400 meters here, so that would be about 425 yards, give or take a yard or two. So that is Princess Caroline, and she is so cute. If she's still available, someone who loves cats needs to go adopt her.
My favorite is when people come into the shop and they say, "Ah, that looks just like my cat." Sorry.
So I don't know if the mic picked Melanie up, but she said she loves it when people come into the shop and see that and say, it looks just like my cat.
Really?
I've had a couple of people say that to me too. I had someone ask me about a tortoise shell cat, and we had a tortoise shell yarn, so that was fantastic. So you are supporting local too by buying this yarn. This is an excellent, excellent blend for your socks. And again, it's another really soft, squishy yarn. It's kind of, I think, on the par with the Allegria. Very, very soft and squishy. So the Meow Melange, again, is $36 per hank. And you've got 400 meters. So again, about 425 yards. I only pulled 2 colors down because we have it up at the way tippy top. So these were the only 2 I could reach. But we have about 6 or 7 colors, and yeah, great yarn. I love this yarn. I have enough to make a sweater at home once, I cross a few more things off my list. So the next thing I want to show you guys, if you've been to the Fiberette 4 shopping category, this might look a little familiar because I used it as our landing photo. This is the unique sock kits, and this is the Harmony colorway, so that's the photo I used for the Fiberette 4 category. What this is 2 balls of yarn that are exact matches. So for those of you who like your socks to match, this is definitely your item right here. So they're 2 equally wound balls, 2 equal yardage, and they will make exactly matching socks. So these are 2 balls at 220 yards each. And the kit is $29.99, and I believe they do have a sock pattern for these on their website, but this is the Harmony colorway. These guys are made in Turkey, and I forgot to read off the fiber content. This is 75% extra fine superwash merino and 25% nylon. So Harmony was released last year for Pride Month, so that would have been about June. This colorway, they call it Pan 21. These are the colors of the year for 2021. They are no longer making this kit, so if you like your Grello, as we call it, you might want to hop on that before we sell out. And that's what the sock looks like when it's made up. And then we've got some of their colors that are not limited editions. These are their staple colors. So this one is just color 64. And it is a wonderful blue. We actually have a sample that they sent us out of this yarn in the shop if you want to take a look at it in person. And then a couple more special colorways. This is Tigress, and I thought this was just so much fun. So that's how it knits up. So it does look like tiger stripes. I think this would be fantastic for a Halloween costume come October.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Could do leg warmers or socks, or you could probably do like a hat with little tiger ears on it. And then this one, I have this one at home. One of these days I need to make it. This is the zebra colorway, so black and white. And I love the way that the stripes are uneven, kind of like a tiger or a zebra in nature, that their stripes aren't going to be exactly even with one another. So they take that into account when they make these guys. So again, those are 75% extra fine superwash merino, 25% nylon, and they're 2 equal balls of 220 yards each, and that is a fingering weight yarn. That is $29.99. Okay, the next yarn is a favorite of both Melanie and myself. This is Tippy Tree yarn. And I know we have mentioned this yarn before, but honestly, this makes such fantastic socks. This yarn wears incredibly well. It is a local dyer, and I love the ply and the colors, and this is just all around probably one of the best sock yarns you could use. So this is $37.99 per hank. There are 463 yards here, and it's a blend of 75% merino, 25% nylon. And this colorway is called Lil Goblins. This was part of her Halloween collection. And the ply on it is so cool. It's got this really nice texture. It's not bumpy, but it's not smooth. It's kind of somewhere down the middle. And it just, this stuff knits up beautifully. I can't say enough how much we love this yarn. So that is Lil Goblins, and then this is I Smell Snow.
Oh, I love this one.
I know, I'm making a sweater out of this, and one day I'll finish it.
Ooh, you are? That's awesome.
I am making a sweater out of that color. The second I saw it, I fell in love with that pale turquoise with just those little speckles of color in there. And then this one, I actually got my mom a hank of this for Christmas because the fall, nice rich fall colors reminded me of her. So this is Apple Picking. It's on a creamy white base with red and green and a little bit of brown. So you've got the apples with the leaves and the brown represents the stems. It's a really, really nice color. And I think this would probably make fantastic mittens or gloves too, with the nice stretchiness that the man-made fiber provides. So again, that is Tippy Tree Sock, and it is fingering weight, $37.99 per hank, and we've got 463 yards here. And I did finish my other sock. I battled my second sock syndrome and finished my socks. So I just need to block them right now to get rid of the ladder and the going up the side. But that is Lil Goblins, and this is actually how big my feet are. Oh, thank you. I know this yarn is fantastic. And I did a 2x2 rib on top. And after doing this, I have determined I am not going to do this much ribbing ever again on a sock because it slows me down terribly. And Melanie wanted to show your sock? Okay, Melanie wants to show her sock out of Tippy Tree.
All right. So I did mention this last week, but I've made a little bit of progress on my Tippy Tree socks. These are going to my older sister for her birthday, and the colorway, which I thought might be helpful to show you how it works up because they're all so unique. The colorway is called Wherever They Go, and it is a hand paint, so my skein is going to be slightly different than this other one that's hanging on the wall, which is great. It's totally unique. But I'm really enjoying how these pops of blue and pinks are all kind of blending together. And just to speak to the yarn, it has a really nice stretchiness to it. I also did a nice stretchy ribbing. This is the Ann Budd Custom Socks design, actually, that I modified to make this gift. And I used the Eye of Partridge heel. So I love this yarn. I think I will keep going back to it as a go-to for gifts because it's washable. They have really cute colors that my sisters really like, and it has a great stretchiness to it. I know that one thing that drives me nuts is when there's no give to your sock. So you want to have that nice stretchiness so it forms to your foot and stays up. So huge fan of the Tippy Tree sock. All right.
Like we're playing a game of musical chairs. Yep, Gloria showed up. Hi, Gloria.
You're never late, Gloria.
So the next yarn I have to show you guys, I have not used it myself, but I know people who have and absolutely love it. This is a fantastic yarn for people who have sensitivities to animal fibers. This is the Bamboo Pop Sock. And it is 55% bamboo, 37% cotton, and 8% PBT, which is a nylon. I know a lot of people out there can't wear wool, they can't wear alpaca. This is a wonderful alternative. And even though bamboo tends to be a little bit cooler, this will still keep you warm. And there are 492 yards here. This is a fingering weight. And again, it's one of those yarns that has a really neat texture to it, and it works up beautifully. This guy is Morning Glory, and it does have a striping effect, but this particular one is a very subtle striping effect. And Mom says she loves this yarn. For those of you who like your neutrals, this is Overcast, and it's a gray and white combo. And again, just really nice color, really, really soft. This is another kind of stress ball, squishy yarn.
Oh, we're getting the hearts and the lights.
Yay! I told you people like Bamboo Pop. And this one is Tide Pool, and this one is going to have a less subtle striping effect. This will have a very bright striping effect to it.
I love when they wrap balls like that.
Oh yeah, I love it when, yeah, Melanie and I both love it when they make the balls like this. You can see all the colors in there. And so again, that is a fingering weight yarn.
Sorry.
That was Melanie's head for you watching Instagram. This is, again, a fingering weight yarn, 55% bamboo, 37% cotton, and 8% PBT. Oh, and look, that is the striping effect you get from the Tide Pool colorway. So these guys, it's still striping, but it's a little more subtle than the Tide Pool. Okay, so those guys are $12.99 per ball, and you, with the yardage, you could definitely get a pair of socks out of this guy. So, yay, lots of hearts and thumbs up. Thank you.
We have Sherry joining us from Iowa.
Oh, nice. So next, I love self-striping yarn because I love plain socks, and the self-striping yarn, you can make a plain sock, or knit a plain sock, but still get the striping effect on it. So this is the Lang Super Socks, and this one is 75% wool, 25% nylon. So again, you've got that great fiber blend in there. And this guy is 420 meters, so we're looking about 445, 450 yards. Definitely could get a pair out of this. And yeah, the colorways are just awesome. That's the sock knit up on there, and it's got a great not only striping but shading effect in it too. And this stuff is soft, and it's got the enough nylon in it, so it's a little stretchier. So great yarn. Oh, Instagram just kicked me off. Oops.
There we go.
So now here's this other color, and they are in I forget what language this is.
German, maybe?
I don't think it's German, but I could be wrong. This is HOHLE, and it's a very nice, it's kind of a peachy pink with a mixture of blue, and the dark threads through it, it's not a true black, it's more of a deep charcoal gray.
In my experience, these tend to wear extremely well.
Okay. In case you didn't hear that, Melanie said in her experience this yarn wears very well. I think it's virgin wool, so it's not treated quite as much, so it's going to wear a lot better. And then of course we have to pull the purple.
Naturally.
This one is called Clouds, which to me this doesn't look like clouds, but that's okay. So this is purple with some magenta and lavender.
Sunset clouds.
Yeah, sunset clouds, exactly. When the sun's going down and the sky turns kind of purpley.
If you're looking for a hiking sock, I would recommend.
Melanie would recommend this for hiking socks. They do wear very, very well. So that is $19.75. It is fingering weight, and again it's 75% wool and 25% nylon. And in case you don't have a sock pattern in mind, sorry, I had to go off camera. This is the Arna and Carlos Favorite Designs book, and in this book, besides lots of gorgeous sweaters and home accessories, they do have 2 sock patterns. There is the easiest and second easiest socks in the world. So one is toe up, the other is top down. So they just use one yarn in there, but it's the self-striping yarn. So this would be an excellent pattern for the Lang Super Socks or the Bamboo Pop sock. So let me see. So we've got the easiest sock in the world, which they make toe up.
Cool.
And the second easiest socks in the world, which are cuff down. And they use that self-striping yarn, and it looks totally fantastic. So great yarn if you're a beginning sock knitter and you want something a little fancier, but don't want to make a fancy sock or don't feel like you have enough experience to do something with a little pattern to it. This is a great choice.
You'll impress a lot of people.
You'll impress people, yeah. Yeah, just don't tell them that it's one yarn. Just say, yeah, I put those stripes in myself. So the Arna and Carlos book is $29.95. And honestly, I wouldn't buy it just for the socks. There are some amazing patterns in here. They've got the Christmas balls. I'm in love with this sweater. I think one of these days I need to make it. It's so beautiful. And I love the mouse too. The mouse is adorable. I can't remember his name though. They showed him on their Fiberside chat, and Arna was wearing the same sweater the mouse was. They had matching sweaters. It was so much fun. So another book, going off camera again. I just bought this book myself, and I haven't had a chance to read through it. It's called Our Maker Life, and it's both knitting and crocheting patterns. And it's going into stories about designers and their journey, so it's equal parts reading book and pattern book. But this, and of course it's both knitting and crocheting, which I love.
Best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds, exactly. So this is the No Sew striped socks.
Ooh.
So for that they use a solid and like a marled color changing yarn. And I want to say that these are toe up, but and this is made with fingering weight yarn. Yep, these are toe up. So
Toe up's great because you can use up all of your yarn.
you can use up all your yarn with toe up, yeah. So this is a fantastic book for both knitters and crocheters and those of us who do both. And
Cool.
I would highly recommend, even if you don't purchase it, at least take a look at it and read it a little bit. So this guy is $24.99, and this is Our Maker Life. Alrighty. So let's say you don't like your small yarns, your fingering weights, you want to make socks with a larger weight yarn. Well, I've pulled out two examples that I think would make fantastic socks. I'm going off camera again.
I have a pattern idea for some socks.
Oh, Melanie has a pattern idea for thick socks. You better keep watching Ravelry and Facebook.
I'm gonna drop it in the Facebook chat.
Oh, she's going to put it in the Facebook chat. So this is the Alegria Grande. So we showed you the Alegria earlier, and this is the Grande version of it. So this is worsted weight yarn, exact same fiber content, 75-25. So you've got your wool and your nylon. And so it has the same squishiness and the same stretchiness that the fingering weight does, but this is a worsted weight, so your socks are going to knit up super, super fast. So these have 197 yards per hank. I would definitely buy more than one. You may even want to look at probably 3 to make a pair of socks. And you can pair it with a super bright color. So this is the Space Dye Alegria Grande. This is Lacura Fluo. And then this is Coal. And I think those two look so awesome together. And honestly, I would use this as a contrasting color on your sock. These are dyed by hand, so there are going to be slight variations from skein to skein. So that's why I think this, you should have your main color as a solid and then the contrast as the rainbow color. Sorry, I can't read that. A little too far away. And then this is also another space dye, and I love the name of this color. This is Skunk. It's black with white speckles on it. And what's really cool, it's non-profit, and every one of these skeins is signed by the person who dyed it because it's like an individual work of art in a skein form. So these are $29.99 per skein. Again, there's 197 yards, and it's a 75-25 wool nylon blend. So you're definitely looking at least 2 to make a pair of socks, if not 3, just to be safe. So this would be a great worsted for socks. And I have another worsted to show you, so going off camera again. So I don't have a sock sample out of this, but I do have a couple of our shop samples to show you guys how this yarn works up. So this is one of my favorite yarns. This is Sesame by Barocco. It is a worsted weight yarn. And this is a 43% wool, 39% acrylic, 9% cotton, and 9% nylon. There's your head again, Melanie. So it's a blend of 4 different fibers. So you do have the man-made fiber in there to help with the wear on the sock and the structural integrity. Oh, wow, those are neat. Yeah, I know where did I put it? These are great. you can make fantastic accessories, sweaters out of this yarn. It is lovely, lovely yarn. So the Sesame, there are 230 yards in a ball, and they're $19.99 per ball. This is one of my absolute favorite yarns to work with. I've knit, I've crocheted, and I've even woven with this yarn, and it works up so beautifully. For you weavers out there, I do have to say that the little tweeds can get caught on your heddle, so just be careful when you're weaving with it. So this is Orchid, which is blues and purples. This is Cherry Blossom, which has greens, pinks, purples, and a tiny hint of orange in there. And then, bless you, Inkwell, which has the blacks and your more neutral tones in here. So with 230 yards, if you were making socks, I would still recommend probably getting 2. That should be more than enough. Like I said, I don't have a sock sample, but I have a crocheted and a woven sample to show you guys, so you can kind of see how the yarn works up. So this is the Orchid and a crocheted scarf. So it has a very subtle, at least the darker color has a very subtle striping effect to it. And it is pretty stretchy because of that man-made fiber in there. And you can see the tweeds on that guy. So this, I think, took me 2 hanks, I want to say, or 2 balls of the Orchid. And then I also have a woven sample, so you can kind of see how it works up there. So this is Cherry Blossom and Orchid. So I used Orchid for the warp and Cherry Blossom for the weft. I have to remember which color went which way. So that is a really subtle striping effect, and I wove it kind of tight. I knit, crochet, and weave tightly, so you can't really see the Orchid in there. But the Cherry Blossom is wonderful. So I think that the Sesame would actually make amazing socks because of the fiber content. So again, those are $19.99 per ball. I only have 3 colors up here, but we've got about 6 or 7 on the wall. They're 230 yards for $19.99, so you'd want to buy 2 to make a pair of socks. And going off camera again. So in my sock class this week, it was mentioned in the pattern, they talked about reinforcing wool. So we have the reinforcing wool here so I can show you guys. What the reinforcing wool is you hold it double with your yarn when you're working specifically on the heel of a sock. The heel tends to wear out quicker than any other part of the sock. So holding this double with your yarn just reinforces, hence the name, the heel. So this is 100% wool, and it's probably no bigger than like an embroidery thread, but because it is 100% wool, it wears really, really well and just reinforces and strengthens that very vulnerable part of your sock. So we've got it in 5 colors. We've got a couple neutrals, so I've got black, and we've got a darker gray, so this is like a heather gray. And I've got a lighter gray. And then these I don't think I need to take out of the bag. We've got a nice, it's navy but not a super dark navy, and then like a cherry red. So these are $1.75 per spool. Melanie's laughing at me, and that's okay. These are $1.75 per spool, and there's enough here to reinforce the heels on your socks. You can also use this for darning, especially if it's a wool, like a 100% wool item. Whether it's, we actually bought these for a customer who needed to mend her 100% wool leggings. So this will work for that as well.
It has a really fine gauge.
Yeah, it's incredibly fine. It's probably no bigger than like an embroidery thread. But it does add enough strength to your sock to really reinforce that heel. So I almost forgot to pull this item tonight, and I feel kind of silly about it, but I keep my socks, I always have a pair of socks going, and I keep it in my Peapod Threads bag. I literally will, yeah, so does Melanie. I will literally just pick it up and throw it in the car if we're on a trip. I've told people before, I throw my bag around like a football. This thing is so sturdy and so tough. I put all 3 sizes of the bags on the Fiber at 4 shopping category, but the one I really wanted to show you guys was the small size, because this is perfect for your socks. And the bottom is, it's folded up, but you can unfold it so that it will lie flat, and it's not going to stand up because I don't have anything in it, but it will stay flat on its bottom, and it's got a nice handy strap in it. And she actually redid the smaller sizes, so these are just a touch taller than her older bags. So yeah, Melanie has one of her older bags, and this is one of the newer ones. So she's made them a bit taller. They're about the same, yeah, they're the same width, just taller. So the small size bag that I'm showing you is $32.99. This is another local artist. So these are great. I have one at home and I love this bag. This is,
The fabric is super
yeah, she chose really fun fabrics this time. We've got some florals. This is kind of a winter theme. There's one that has foxes and wild animals on it, wearing sweaters and doing winter activities. It's really, really cute. So you crocheters out there, I didn't want you to feel forgotten. So I brought in something from my own personal book collection. We do not carry this book currently, but I checked online and it is available at the Longmont Public Library. This is Step Into Crochet, and this is an interweave publication. And what's really awesome about this book is they give you, it's very similar to the knitting ones, where they give you a complete breakdown of the sock, the anatomy of the sock, and which items, which yarns, which hooks you need to do the sock. This has everything from plain socks to, they've got some crocheted cables in here. So yeah, here, it's by Ron Strong, if you guys have heard of him. He's a very prolific knitter and crocheter. So he gives the breakdown of the anatomy of the sock. So this is Step Into Crochet, and this is available at the Longmont Public Library for you to check out and take a look at. So I would recommend crocheters taking a look at that book. I have not yet made a pair of crocheted socks myself, but again, it's one of those things that I'm eventually going to check off on my list. So that was all we have for you guys tonight. We will be back next week, and I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your Sunday, and we will see you later.